Hi, I'm Joel, and this is,
Joshua. Hi.
and we're here to document us working on some bikes. As you can see behind me is my old Trek 1200, which we're going to be converting to Hollowtech cranks with a Shimano 105 drivetrain. So let's get started. So, part of my Trek 1200, I've had this for about since 2007. I got it given to me by a friend, and I've ridden it a lot of places. The old RX 1000 drivetrain is kind of shot, and as you can see, a big waver and bend in the chain. I was riding one day and my chain got caught. My chain got caught in the rear stay, and it bent the entire crank. So what we're going to replace this with, again, is a nice shiny Shimano 105 and do a Hollowtech bracket. All right. So I've got a Shimano BBRS 500 bottom bracket, which is a 68 millimeter with an English thread on it. Now, I've done a lot of YouTube type research, and it says I should be able to do this. So in this video today, we're going to be removing the crankset. We're going to be removing the square taper bottom bracket and installing the Hollowtech 2 bottom bracket, and that will conclude our video. Okay, so this kind of makes me nervous because this has spanner style unlock. So I don't know if our Hollowtech's going to work on this. And then the other side, we should be able to put a big crescent wrench and loosen that up. So we're at a moment of uncertainty here, but we'll find out. I do not have a spanner of that size, but since I'm not going to be reusing this square taper bottom bracket, I am going to use a pipe wrench. Okay, so this is absolute butchery. I had to put it on the ground and put another tire on it just because I wasn't sure how tight this was going to be. But since I have a big pipe wrench, it actually didn't do too bad and loosened right up. So it looks like this spanner is just a backstop for the other side. So we'll go ahead and mount this back up and loosen the other side. Okay, all right. And again, this one is a righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. And came off really, really nice and easy. So somebody must have greased it up before. But again, I can't imagine that this stuff has ever actually been off of this bike. That's why you wear gloves. And again, just turn right. And thankfully I've done, even using the spanner the way I did, little to no damage. Okay, Josh, go ahead. All right, focus down here, Josh. All right, so this is the other piece to this square bottom bracket. Again, this is a lefty-loosey, so this is the left-hand side. If you see the dots in there, I think there was some sort of special wrench you used back in the day. I remember having an old mountain bike that had and it's got an open bearing. So if you want to re-grease the bearings on this, it's kind of cool. It's got a cage bearing in there. That's super old school. All right, so the moment of truth. We'll go ahead and put this back together. Where'd the spanner nut go? There's a spanner nut. We'll go ahead and put this back together just in case I have to ever put this stuff back on or ever want to. We'll put it in the Hollowtech box. But that's a pretty simple piece of, and that's what I kind of like about these old bikes, is they're always pretty simple. So, all right, moment of truth. This is the Holotech bottom bracket. And what's nice about this is every single one of my bikes has a Shimano hollow brackets, not because I'm particularly partial to Shimano, but everything with Shimano is universal throughout my gravel bike, my road bike, and my alternate road bike. So I'm just gonna test fit this, and then I'm gonna grease the threads. So going down here, oh thank goodness. So that goes in very nicely. That makes me happy. This is the only part of this project I was kind of nervous about, because I didn't actually know if this was gonna work. And again, you know, a lot of internet research went into it, but it was only as good as some blogs and stuff I've read. So that makes me really happy to see. Oh, that's awesome, Josh. You don't have to push play. Okay. Dude, that's huge. All right, now we're gonna do what everybody says to do, even though these got Loctite on it. I don't know, every YouTube bike mechanic always puts this on the threads. So if the Park Tool guy does it, I do it. All right, so again, this is a clockwise thread. And I don't have the exact specs for this. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put my wrench on it, and the wrench for those looks like this. And a lot of my tools I just get off of Amazon. Amazon's got fairly cheap bike tools. I would like to go Park Tool all the way, but as I'm not a professional bike mechanic, and this is a part-time deal, we go with the cheap tools. So I'm just gonna snug it till it feels good, and then we'll switch to the other side. All right, now we're at the other side. As you see, I turned the bike around, and we're gonna do the same thing over again. The only thing with Holotech is you've got this little guy, the tube, and that's just got a washer around it, a gasket, not a washer, a rubber gasket, and we'll do the same thing. So put a little Park Tool grease here. And this, if I remember correctly, we're going to be a counterclockwise thread, so lefty-tighty on this one. And the nice thing, on these bottom brackets, they've actually got an arrow that says which way to tighten, so it's even Joel-proof. Now this got a little tight. I should have actually probably cleaned this thing up a little better before I put it on. But I didn't. The nice thing about this is it shows you can take an old bike and put modern parts on it. Again, I'm snugging that up just so it feels good. In my defense, I did this with my road bike, and I haven't had any issues with the bottom bracket with my full-time road bike. So now for the moment of satisfaction, we'll throw the crankset on it. And I like this one. I got this one off eBay for about $95. And really I got it because it looks cool. Again, it's a Shimano 105. I think it's an older generation model, but this thing fits beautifully. It looks like it looks really good. So again, I've recycled some old parts that I've had in the garage. If you look down here, this is my Shimano 105 10-speed rear derailleur. Now I got this off of my gravel bike when I converted it to an 11-speed in the rear. And then I'm going to see if my front derailleur, I'm going to readjust that so it fits. I'm going to see if my front derailleur actually works with this bike. Okay, all right, if we focus in here, this just goes on over the top, obviously 90 degree or 180 degrees from the other one. Then you've got this central central piece here that holds it in. Again, I don't have the actual special wrench for this, but what I like about it is it snugs your crank in. It snugs your crank in, so it's tight, and then you can actually tighten your 2 Allen bolts down. See how it kind of comes out? I'm gonna go all the way in. All right, so I've got the centerpiece in. I didn't videotape the methods because I don't have the right tool, but I got it tight. And again, what I did was I sandwiched the 2 crank arms together, and I just tightened this until there's no more back and forth. And now this is where you actually tighten these 2 bolts down. And again, the manual has tightness, has specs for it, but I'm gonna do the Joel method and tighten it down until it feels tight enough. Haven't had any issues with my other bike with this either. If you want the torque specs, watch a Bike Mechanic. Okay, that feels good. All right, so this completes the conversion. This is the one piece I wasn't very certain about, and I couldn't be more happy with how it turned out, because now we've got a modern crank set with my old bike.